talking about, you know, putting the little gutter on above the windows and that to keep from streaks. But I see that that runs and kind of dumps the water down the seams.
It's gonna dump it somewhere.
It's gotta dump it somewhere. Do you have any recommend to make them shorter, or is that okay as long as you're sealing the seams? What is your recommendations, or what has been your experience?
I don't know, I never use it.
You never use it. I mean, it's the same like I was just worried about, am I transferring the problem from having black streaks to running water down my side seams? And I didn't know
No,
the
it wouldn't,
experience.
because if you
Smoke
move
a
it
little
so
bit,
much, it'll
everything will
run
go out
down the back.
and won't be right on the seam.
You'll have one bind seam.
Well, not really a question, just a comment sort of related to that. I discovered a product called, I don't know if anybody else has used it, but I discovered a product called Easy RV Gutter. And it's a rubber self-stick, I bought a 100-foot roll. And had clean roof. Anyway, bottom line was, it gives you a gutter about an inch wide, and I stuck it above the seam on the sides, all the way down the entire length of the vehicle. And then you can turn it down. It's pliable enough that you can use it around windows and other places. But it number one got rid of almost all the black streaks we ever had, except where the stuff coming off the roof was running down. But at least I could control where it was coming down. And you can get little corners to put on. And the other thing, which is kind of an interesting trick, was that you cut the stuff with a pair of scissors. And at one of the rallies, I think in 2017, I cut maybe about 6 or 8 or 10 4-inch pieces, because what I used it, another thing I used it for was, I turned it upside down and I stuck it onto the back of my trunk door for a handle, because I was having trouble getting the doggone trunk door open. And so it's some pretty handy stuff, and it's not very expensive. ECR.
So when we were down in James, we remounted the rear windows. We have an HD. We remounted the rear windows because the factory took the spacers off. They thought they were for shipping.
Yeah.
So over time, all of our windows dropped about 3/8 of an inch.
Mine have dropped, but I haven't.
And it's the biggest hassle of fixing that is getting the old butyl rubber off the frame and the window. So you can use those multi-tools with the little cutting edges. You can use solvents. The easiest thing we found out was, as you start pulling that stuff off, it sticks to itself. So you just kind of stick it on itself and pull some more off. But it takes
Forever, didn't it?
it took several hours for 3 of us to clean one window.
They actually, before I had my Rialta, so 2007, 6, somewhere in there, they had a rally in Manassas, Virginia. And they set up an assembly line. They had 2 people taking the windows out. One inside taking the screws out, one outside to catch the window. And then they had people lined up in chairs, and they take the window over there to them, and they were peeling the stuff off of it. And by the time they got about 10 rigs done, they were ready to start going back in with the window.
And put spacers.
Put the spacers. You
Piece
just
of
put some
plywood.
aluminum spacer in there
If you had a piece of plywood,
I used
Plywood,
you know, piece of oak. You
yeah,
can use plastic.
anything to raise the window about a half inch.
half inch. Okay.
Yeah, you want to center it in the opening. There are some little spacers that come with snap-together flooring kits, and they're adjustable. They kind of snap at different heights. You can use those. Anything's better than what Winnebago forgot to put in. All you want to do is get them kind
The
of
thing
centered in
is,
the opening.
that if you put that spacer in there, when you put the window in, you try to set it on the spacer before you clamp it, and it'll never move.
Right.
It's there. Or you can tape it before you put it in. There's a number of things you can do, but you want something that's not going to break down over time, and get it right to centered in the opening.
to me, the hardest part of all of that was the darn valance and those
Yeah.
Oh, those
shapes.
screws.
Trying to get the
Oh,
screws
that's
underneath
right.
it.
Yeah,
Trying to find
The
the
screws bury themselves in the carpeting
Yeah.
type stuff.
I've taken,
You,
yeah.
you mentioned truck doors in the back. I went down to Home Depot and got me a nice looking drawer pull. And mounted it in the center of my door in the back. That way I don't have to jiggle the key.
I think that was the second mod I did on my Rialta after I got it.
Got a door pull for the back locker door.
And I got a bunch of holes.
Yeah, I did too.
I bought the contractor pack, you get 10 or 20 in a pack.
And I'm not-
$2 a piece, you pay $1.
I don't,
Yeah, the coach doors are a real problem on all these rigs. The water gets into the top, it gets inside the door, it can go down the bottom of the
Yeah.
inside piece is plywood, it disintegrates.
Yep.
And there's, I mean, you can try and keep the water out, that's the best you can do. But it's just a problematic design.
The reason for that is the walls are curved on the Rialta, and if you have the side windows, slide up windows, if you have one of those open when it's raining, the water comes, it's curved enough that it gets to the top of the window and falls inside instead of going on outside.
Sure did.
And so if you got anything in there, like the little tiny wire, it's gonna be
It
following
did.
that, and it's gonna go right inside.
Oh, real quick on the coach doors, the seals have been not available for like 18 months since the pandemic started, but Ron said they're in stock up at Bus Depot. I ordered one this week. So if anybody's been waiting to get a new door seal for the main door,
Yeah.
he's
Is
got
that the
them.
fuzzy stuff or
No,
the?
it's the rubber seal.
Can you get the fuzzy stuff anywhere?
Yeah.
Where?
I
At
don't
your
remember.
house?
I ordered I ordered something
I
on it. I had to
remember
figure out what it was called first.
Yeah, fuzzy stuff. And it goes in a track, and that's the
Yeah,
part I
it
don't
goes
have.
in the track, and then you
In
get
the
different
window.
lengths. It comes in all different lengths and everything.
oh, I know.
Is that the
Yeah,
screen
it's
door?
fuzzy, and we can't find it.
Yeah, I think so.
Another thing, you mentioned fuzzy stuff, and it
Yeah.
caught me up here. The underside of the roof, some folks call it rat fuzz. But if you have something you want to stick to the roof inside the rig, the hook end of velcro works great.
I got a skylight cover that's being held up. with
That's
half
how
of
my
the Velcro
skylight cover
just on the
was.
roof.
You've got to dream big, or don't dream at all.